Back to Victorian values! I hope you're satisfied, Thatcher!
Alright people, bit late coming on, sorry, just had a minor thing there. Hope you're all well, welcome to the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host Lefty, hope you're all well tonight. You're very welcome here this evening, Solidari-Tea. Just checking everything's in order here. Had a couple of technical problems yesterday, hopefully everything's resolved now. So, Brew Crew, what is happening? Another Wednesday is upon us, that means another PMQs, and there was the spending review today as well. So I'm going over the PMQ session, which I've not seen, and then getting into the spending review as well. Won't go through all of the budget spending announcement. That was, what was it, like 3 hours or something. But no, I will be getting onto the topic. I'm your host Lefty, by the way. Thanks for joining me tonight. Emma Richardson was first in the chat. A good evening to you. We've also got Chris, Antonio, Flowsnake, Guitar Guy 80 as well. Nice to see you, Solidari-Tea. Thanks for the suggestion as well, Guitar Guy, about the Rachel Reeves bonus round. How many of Keith's phrases can she throw out? Perhaps today's spending review was a bit too lengthy, but there will be other opportunities, because it's not like it's only Keith that throws those out, let's be honest, people. Great to see some watermelons in the chat already. Solidarity with Palestine, as always. Oh, I've been a bit hurried this evening, I do have to admit, people. I was out at a gathering earlier. It was actually a memorial for somebody who I know that died recently, and I haven't been back too long to prepare for the stream, but it's PMQs, so it just generally does itself. I don't have to scroll through all of, different sources of news and whatnot and get clips together. Keith's catchphrases, of course. Round 2 of recent newly crowned champion Deal versus Security. I don't know, perhaps with the budget review coming up, maybe Security might get mentioned a few times in the financial context. But as always, this will be my first time reaction, so getting into that shortly. Please hit thumbs up on the stream. Hit buttons, thumbs up, share, all those buttons, wonderful magical buttons that help to give us a boost on the old algorithm. The algorithm. Yeah, because we do want to reach as many fellow socialists across the world as we can. And help to grow the community. I do have a poll, you may have noticed as you join the stream. Please do give me your opinion in the poll if you're familiar with what's in the spending review. I'll be talking about that later on, but from what you know so far, does Rachel Reeves' spending review cut the mustard? Say ye aye, or say ye nay, or say ye who is Rachel Reeves as the third option. I don't just like to do, yes, no and not sure polls. There's plenty of those around. So yeah, if you've got no idea what the question's about because you don't know who Rachel Reeves is, that might be the option for you. So say you aye, say you nay, or say you who is Rachel Reeves. Cast ye votes, brew folk, good people of the world. I'll catch up on a few other bits as well. There's so much going on this week. LA protests, Gaza and the flotilla, Liam Cunningham, Greta Thunberg, or Thunberg if you prefer. Now, we didn't mention this yesterday. I actually meant to, because I think this came up on maybe Monday's stream or Sunday's stream. If you're ever watching Democracy Now!, which is a great source of news, I find, and Greta comes up, you'll find that the the main host, the usual host, Amy Goodman, pronounces it Tunbury, but I think it's obviously it's an American channel, but is it like the borough at the end of Edinburgh, of course, because that does come from Scandinavian origin, I believe. Anyone who's sort of a language enthusiast or whatever. But perhaps that's it, because a few people have noticed that Amy Goodman pronounces it that way, not Tunberg or Thunberg, but Tumbera, and I think perhaps in her native Sweden that is how they pronounce it. Actually, speaking of pronunciation...
We apologise for the interruption of this broadcast while Lefty goes off on a tangent. He's been given a cup of tea and will be back with you shortly. In the meantime, make sure you've hit the thumbs up button and left a comment down below. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that minor tangents on pronunciation. Thanks for the tea as well, Phil. Phil is my left eye's mute producer. He definitely exists. Let's just see where the poll is at the moment. It's a tie. Apparently, a few people not familiar with Rachel Reeves, or maybe, you know, it's just a laugh. It's just a laugh. It's not a proper poll. You can see the headlines now. Recent polling suggests people don't even know who Rachel Reeves is. Yeah, Guitar Guy, I had the Primates repair team getting through all of those technical problems earlier. Good evening, Morbius, as well. And you've heard Greta say her own name in... Well, I'm pretty sure I have, but I've just probably never bothered to actually listen out how she pronounces her own name until now, but I will in the future. So she says it as Berg with a G. Is she saying that because it's the way she pronounces it, or is she saying it that way because she thinks it's the way that people from other countries expect it to be pronounced? It's a minefield. We're not. It's another time. I'm getting on a tangent again. But thanks for that, Mo. Katie Marshall, good to see you. Yeah, I wish I didn't know who Rachel Reeves was either. Rachel Fries, very good. She's as cold as ice. She's willing to sacrifice your pension. Floor Snake, Mrs. Floor Snake, learned Danish but knows a bit about Swedish. And I asked her earlier, she's not an expert, but that's to be continued. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, Danish, Swedish, so on. The Finnish, I think, is a particularly tricky language to learn for other Europeans as well. But it's also my understanding that Finnish was one of the bases of J.R. Tolkien's Elven syntax. But of course we've adopted a lot of those words anyway, haven't we? From Danish and Swedish. Sofa as a word is Swedish, I think. And so IKEA is as well. I didn't know if you knew that. Many words, many, not just nouns, but many common linguistic connections. Going around the world and appropriating things, eh? Empire. Yeah, I want Danish now as well, Doc. It's got me getting hungry now. Nice savoury Danish there. Nom nom nom. I've still got a few biscuits left here. I might have those in between Keith's warblings. Time to give a shout out to the members on the channel, I think. I heartily believe. Thank you very much, everybody. Back over the 100 mark again. So thank you to everybody who's renewed and gifted memberships as well. Seen some of you celebrating some significant milestones in membership also. I guess I've been doing streams for about a year or so now. So thank you very much for all of your support. Great to see the community growing. Great to get to know more about you and your thoughts and opinions, your worldview. And of course our mutual disdain for whichever current cabinet we might have throughout the period of this channel's existence. Some super thanks on recent content as well, thank you very much for those, if any of you are watching this evening. So let's bring the chat on the screen. Just get the chat refreshed. And there we are. It'll catch up in a moment. This is a basic tech stream, by the way. There's another tech upgrade imminent. Yeah, I'm sure the fact that I have to run this thing off of a laptop at the moment is probably the cause for some of the setbacks. Once I start to pile clips and things into the broadcast software, it does start to, well, basically it has a stroke. For example, on tonight's stream, I'd normally download the PMQs, but I'm going to be playing it through a media player because it was 3.5 hours long, so it was quite a sizable file. And then when I went to put that in the broadcast software, it said, it exclaimed, "What the fuck is this? I'm not playing this." Well, I can play this, but you can't have your microphone working. That's the deal, Buster. So I've had to work around it. I had to train those tech support primates myself, you know. Do you know what that's like? For an animal or species that, shall we say, re-eats its food 2 or 3 times to extract as much energy from it as possible, and that's not even a joke. Yeah, we're getting zoological here on the Brews at 10 now. Political and zoological. Yes, Katie, I'm fully prepared. This will, of course, the PMQs section. You're rubbish. No, you're rubbish. Next question. Will the Prime Minister agree that the Tories were rubbish and we can blame us being crap on them again? And Keith will come up to the dispatch box. Oh, of course we will. And I'll get you in touch with the relevant minister. Black hole, plan for change, deliver. Deal. What's the other one? The new one? Keep forgetting. Security. Of course, it's security. And that's exactly why I'm not going to be watching the full spending review either. Listen to Rachel Reeves for 2.5 hours. No thanks. Get started in just a moment, folks. Well, that's a good point. Did I even check for a comedy clip? I'll have a quick look now, just while I've got a moment. Music. Philip. Thank you. I don't have a comedy clip uploaded, I'm just going to check if anyone I'm subscribed to's got anything out. Which will take but a moment, which gives you a moment to double check that you've hit the thumbs up button on the stream, people, and shared around your social media. Or perhaps if you're watching back later, add a comment. You might want to say, what's with all these tangents about pronunciation? I watched this with PMQs. You know them fucking manky, or whatever. Just scrolling. Right, we'll forgo the opening clip and then get straight into the You're Rubbish, No You're Rubbish contest, also known as Prime Minister's Questions. Let's check we're all good. Well, I think that answered that, didn't it? Right, we're ready now. So yes, check you've all got a fresh brew, or you might have an Irish coffee, as Guitar Guy is there. Why not? Your choice, your beverage. Casey, thank you very much. Jeremy Bowen, actually, speaking of Manchester, that's where this stream's coming to you from tonight, by the way. Jeremy Bowen on the BBC pointed out that more than the entire population of Manchester has now been displaced in Gaza. So imagine that, whether you are from Manchester or not. Literally everybody, to a person. That's the skill that we're dealing with here, people. Oh, there are exceptions though, yeah. Not everybody, don't agree. I certainly don't agree with everybody here in town. Yeah. Let us begin.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Deliver.
Black hole.
Plan for change. Deliver.
Black hole.
Plan for change. Deliver.
Black hole.
Plan for change. Deliver.
Black hole.
Plan for change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Another week, another game of Keith's Catchphrases. These are the rules for anybody who's not familiar with the game. So we set 2 words or phrases against one another during PMQs. The 3 conditions, though, are that the phrases have to be spoken by Keir Starmer himself. The phrases are allowed 2 successive losses before they're removed, and we get another contender. Slight variations are allowed. So today's 2 contenders, like I said, will be security and deal. So, for example, dealing would count, or secures, for example. Pretty straightforward, really. And last week was a win for deal, wasn't it? 6-1 it was. Just resetting the scoreboard, actually. So when you hear one of the phrases, please do listen out in case I miss any of them. You'll hear this noise when they're mentioned. And you'll see when we hear security, you'll see this. And when we hear deal, you'll see Keith Edmonds there. I nearly said Noel Starmer. Keith Edmonds. Well, both of them would work, but that's the one we've been using. And we'll just keep score on the left-hand side of your screen, as we'll see in but a moment. Nil. Good to go. So, Lindsay Hoyle's going to take it away, or he's probably going to try and take it away, because it normally just comes out like this, you know. Well, you heard it in that little clip there. We know the questions. The guy who sounds like he's eating a watermelon while he talks. His job, he's called the speaker. His job is to speak. Why did we know why they voted in somebody who sounds like they're chewing on a wet sponge? Because he just does what he's king told. I don't like Lindsay Hoyle, in case that was not enough of a hint. So take it away, Lindsay. He's from not too far away, just over in Chorley. But he's a Class A, paid up, 100% total arse bag. Off we go. Oh no, I need to fucking meat on.
Question 1, please.
Mr. Speaker, can I first wish you a happy birthday for yesterday? And say that we're all delighted that Sir Billy Boston, a great British sporting icon, has received his richly deserved knighthood. Long overdue, if I may say, for him, but also for rugby league. Mr. Speaker, it's Carers Week, and I know the whole House will join me in celebrating the selfless dedication of our unpaid and young carers. This weekend also marks the 8th anniversary of the Grenfell Tower fire. We will honour the 72 men, women and children who lost their lives by delivering meaningful and lasting change, a country with safe and secure homes for everyone, and where justice is done for the Grenfell community. Mr. Speaker, acting alongside our allies, we've sanctioned individuals responsible for inciting appalling settler violence and expansion. We've done that to uphold human rights and defend the prospect of a two-state solution. We will continue to support all efforts to secure a ceasefire, the release of all hostages despicably held by Hamas, and the humanitarian aid that needs to surge in. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
To Mr. Michael was brutally murdered 5 years ago and his body was desecrated. Working alongside the honourable members for York Outer and Montgomeryshire and England.
Sorry about the buffering. Just working on that. Apologies, people. I nearly went for the button then when he said delivered, by the way.
I've made a number of requests to discuss his and other victims' cases with ministers and to explore introducing legislation making the desecration of a body a criminal offence. Would the Prime Minister meet with Mr O'Leary's family, along with other victims' families, including
Or don't. Sorry about this, everyone.
April Jones of Machynlleth
Right.
and Sarah Everard and Helen McCourt to hear why they are calling for a new criminal offence of desecrating a body to be introduced.
Jinx myself. Sorry, my media player's just stalling a bit.
Well, can I thank her for raising this horrific case and the other
Oh, and the chat's lagging as well.
similar cases, and my thoughts,
I'm on it,
sure
people.
the thoughts of the whole House are with Michael's family and all those affected by such vile crimes. I think we all need to listen to what they have to say. I know she's been working with the honourable friend for
It's the sorry, it's my
York
media
Outer
player. It's not
on
the
this issue.
it's not YouTube
And
Studio.
I pay
or
tribute to her and all of those
the
that are
broadcast
working so
software
hard
for a
on this.
change. I think it's crashed. Right, let's go again. I'll just get this back up. I tested it earlier, it seemed to be okay. Just for a couple of minutes. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Just try. Let's see if it'll play. In OBS.
Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, can I welcome...
And I think we're about so far in. Sorry about the delay.
In this house, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Can everybody hear that?
Diolch, Mr Llefarydd. My constituent, Mr Michael O'Leary, was brutally murdered 5 years ago and his body was desecrated. Working alongside the honourable members for York Outer and Montgomeryshire and Glyndŵr, I've made a number of requests to discuss his and other victims' cases with ministers and to explore introducing legislation making the desecration of a body a criminal offence. Would the Prime Minister meet with Mr O'Leary's family, along with other victims' families, including April Jones of Machynlleth and Sarah Everett and Helen McCourt, to hear why they are calling for a new criminal offence of desecrating a body to be introduced?
Well, can I thank her for raising this horrific case and the other similar cases? And my thoughts, and I'm sure the thoughts of the whole House, are with Michael's family and all those affected by such vile crimes. I think we all need to listen to what they have to say. I know she's been working with the Honourable Friend for York Outer on this issue, and I pay tribute to her and all of those that are working so hard on this issue, and I'm sure the Justice Minister will be in touch at the first opportunity to take this forward, and I thank her again for raising a really important issue.
Simon Offer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Prime Minister, in Gloucestershire, after 14 years, waiting lists for both physical and mental health are finally falling. So last week I hosted a round table with young people and heard how music and arts programmes like the fantastic Gloucestershire Music Works are transforming mental health outcomes. I also chaired a panel on comedy on prescription in South by Southwest with Lou Jackson and Jonathan Pye, utilising laughter to improve well-being and reduce waiting lists. So can I ask the Prime Minister...
Well, I've met Jonathan Pye, and I know he doesn't think too much about Keir fucking Starmer, so stick that one up your bollocks.
To back our campaign in creative health and urge him to go further in reducing waiting lists for all patients. Thank you.
Can I comment? He's got great expertise. He's worked for many years in the NHS as a GP, and I support the work that he's doing. Our plan for change has cut waiting lists, as he points out, by almost 5,000 in his local trust, and we're going further, including through state-of-the-art radiotherapy machines rolled out across the country, Mr Speaker. There's one going into his constituency, more scanners going to 27 other hospital trusts, including 2 hospitals in the constituency of the Leader of the Opposition. All made possible by the decisions that we've made, and I know she'll want to stand up and welcome that.
Leave the opposition, Kemi Bernal.
Mr Speaker, perhaps the Prime Minister knows something I don't know. There's only one hospital in my constituency. But Mr Speaker, since...
probably thanks to your party. Nicola Curtin, optimistic nihilist. Thanks for joining us. Great to see you.
Since Labour took office, Mr Speaker, inflation has nearly doubled, growth has halved, and unemployment has surged. Is this what the Prime Minister meant when he tweeted that the economy is improving?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, since the general election, 500,000 more people are in work. And I know she doesn't mention that. She's fixated on talking Britain down. We're investing in the
I'm
future.
not sided with Beardnot, but I think that's a
even in the last 2 weeks,
figure.
the Strategic Defence Review, 30,000 new jobs building submarines. Yesterday, the sizable announcement, 10,000 new jobs. Tens of thousands of construction jobs building the social and affordable housing that was announced this morning. That's the difference that Labour makes in government.
Mr. Speaker, he must be talking about a different economy. All of us in this House heard about unemployment increasing. Unemployment has increased every month since Labour took office. Last year, he said he was taking the winter fuel payment away to balance the books. But the books are not balanced. In fact, they are worse. This year, the deficit is forecast to be £10 billion higher since the budget. Not since last year's election, since the budget. In what way are the books now balanced?
Mr. Speaker, she's obviously missed the interest rate cuts, the growth figures for earlier this year, the huge, the Strategic Defence Review, local transport, £15 billion going in, free school meals, Sizewell, social housing. Mr. Speaker, but she stands there to lecture us, and I say Liz Truss is obviously back in vogue, advising reform officially now, haunting the Tories, and I remind her that the Shadow Home Secretary, I think he was then Chief Secretary to the Treasury, he gave the Liz Truss budget, Mr. Speaker, 9.5 out of 10. The Leader of the Opposition said what was wrong with Liz Truss's budget was not necessarily the package, that was all right, it was the way it was sold. They've learned absolutely nothing.
Mr. Speaker, he loves talking about Liz Truss because he loves talking about Liz Truss. Why? Why? Because he wants to hide from his own economic record. He's a coward. He's a coward. Every time he stands up there and talks about Liz Truss, it's because he is scared about talking about his record and what is happening to the economy out there. Let's bring it back to the U-turn, which he's running away from. A U-turn on a policy that his MPs went out defending time and time again. Let's go through what's happening here. 1 minute, they said it was right to take the winter fuel payment away, that there might be a run on the pound. The next minute, they said it was right to give it back. This is laughable. He stands there all puffed up and self-righteous. Why can't the Prime Minister just admit that he made a mistake?
Mr. Speaker, they left a £22 billion black hole that we had to fill, and that's why we took the right decisions. We've stabilised the economy. That's why we've seen 4 interest rate cuts. The triple lock is committed to on this side. They say it's unsustainable on that side. That's £470 for most pensioners and good Q1 growth. 3 weeks ago, I said that I wanted more pensioners to be eligible for winter fuel. I'm really pleased we set out the threshold and the certainty that is needed. And she says I don't want to talk about my record. What about 3 trade deals, record investment, free school meals, breakfast clubs, social and affordable housing, defence review, Sizewell? We could go on all morning, Mr. Speaker, but we've got the Chancellor who's going to say even more in a minute. Mr. Speaker, I think she at the weekend said that she would be getting better in the role. She could start with apologising for the Liz Truss budget. That would be better.
Mr. Speaker, I get better every week. He gets worse.
It's probably not going to be anything of substance. There's not response here. Just messing up with the microphone, but I want to point out, where was it?
And think twice before you try to shout somebody down.
About the suggestion of occupying Westminster. I was actually party to an effort in...
I think we all know that he is getting worse, and what he does not want to talk about is how he is going to make the economy better. That is what the people out there want to hear, and he's got no answers. His trade deals have unravelled. The Strategic Defence Review, everyone out there is asking where is the money coming from, and the fact is he doesn't know how to balance the books. The Chancellor says the winter fuel payment U-turn won't be funded through higher borrowing. So will the Prime Minister admit that it will be funded by putting everybody's taxes up?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think she let slip on the Matt Ford programme the other day that she rehearses her fury for PMQ. So a very good rehearsal this morning, I think. Mr. Speaker, she asked what we're doing. At the budget, we put record investment in our NHS and our public service. Record investment. And she comes every week to carp on about national insurance, but she doesn't stand there with the courage of her convictions and say she'll actually reverse it. And the reason she won't, because she won't stand up and say she's against the investment in the NHS. She won't stand up and say she's against the investment in our public services. And we'll all listen very carefully in just 20 minutes when the Chancellor lays out more record investment as to whether they welcome it or whether they say they wouldn't support it.
Mr. Speaker, every week I come here to tell him the truth. The truth that the economy is in a spiral because Labour, that's all of them, Labour put up taxes that cut growth, and we all heard the Prime Minister, he didn't rule out tax rises, so they are going to have to put up taxes even.
Okay, people, I just need to check, well, first of all, can you hear me? I've just changed some of my microphone settings, but according to the EQ, there might be a bit of a in the background. Sure about that. Just let me know if you can hear this that I'm saying now. Just let me know if it's coming through loud and clear. Well, yeah, just wanted to get back onto that point about Westminster. That is what people have to do. We need more people on the streets. We need more people's representation in democracy, and that's why I personally thoroughly believe that the proper citizens' house formed by citizens' assemblies, people's assemblies, is what has to replace this shower that we see every week. It'd be a lot more productive, a lot more progressive, but it certainly would be better than this. Okay, so it's coming through, but it's a bit quiet. Is that any better? Just again filter on this, so should be a bit louder. I have to have other filters on as well. But I'll crack on nonetheless. It's still 0-0, so we've not had security or deal yet.
More. This is a spiral. And if that wasn't bad enough, Mr. Speaker, if that wasn't bad enough, this morning we heard that because of his terrible Chagos deal, Mauritius is scrapping income tax. Why on earth should the British taxpayer pay for £30 billion for tax cuts in Mauritius?
Mr. Speaker, Diego Garcia is a vital intelligence and strategic capability. And it's absolutely clear that legal uncertainty would compromise the conventional order. That is why they started the negotiations in relation to, and no responsible Prime Minister would let that happen. We've secured the base for the long time. That has been welcomed by our allies, by the US, by NATO, by Australia, New Zealand, India. It's been opposed by our adversaries, Russia, China and Iran. And in the second column, we add reform, following Putin, and the Tories following reform.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister knows this has nothing to do with national security, but his bad negotiating. I've had the security briefings. It was a bad deal before, and it's still a bad deal. And then in half an hour, the Chancellor is going to stand up and tell us that everything is fine. But the truth is, she has made bad choices. Bad choices that mean higher inflation, bad choices that have led to lower growth, bad choices that have meant that jobs have been lost every single month since Labour came into office. That's hundreds of thousands of families who've lost their income in Stoke, in Grangemouth, in Luton. Those are their constituencies, businesses across the country. The Chancellor has lost all her headroom. She's fallen out with the Cabinet. She's making unfunded spending commitments which she promised not to do. Isn't the truth that we have got the wrong Chancellor?
Is there any sign of these, is it 40 new hospitals? Anything? It's like 10 years ago when the Tories promised that. No? Okay. Carry on though, Bad Enoch.
And the wrong priorities.
Did I miss a deal?
The wrong choice they made was making a leader of the opposition.
Richard Bergen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and belated birthday greetings to you. Mr. Speaker, it's wrong for any Labour government. No Labour government should ever try to balance the books on the backs of disabled people. Yet in just a few weeks' time, that is what the Prime Minister will ask this House to do. Many of us will not be able to go along with that because it will mean that people who need assistance to cut up their food, to wash themselves, to dress themselves and to go to the toilet will lose the PIP they currently get. That's vital support. This...
Sorry, is that a member at the doorway or is that just one sneaking in? I noticed on the bottom right of the screen.
This week, the Prime Minister changed direction on winter fuel payments. Will he do the same in relation to this and now drop these disability benefit cuts?
Mr. Speaker, it's very important.
He won't because whatever's going to be in the spending review, I don't think rich people are going to pay for it. Do you, Richard? It's a good question, but it's a rhetorical one because we all know that that's going to be Starmer's position.
Make the changes to our welfare system. It's not working. It needs reform. I think everybody agrees with that. It doesn't work for anyone. We will do so on a principled basis that those who can work should work. Those that want to work should be supported to do so, and that we must protect those with the most severe disabilities who will never be able to work.
What, while you're cutting PIP payments? Really? Just shameless, unabashed hypocrisy.
And we're doing that by ending reassessments and paying a new premium.
Good Liberal Democrats, Sir Ed Davey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join others in wishing you belated happy returns for yesterday? And can I welcome the government's sanctions of ministers in the Netanyahu government, Ben-Gvir and Smotrich? The violence they've incited, the settler violence they've incited against innocent Palestinians on the West Bank is intolerable, and the government right to act.
Do Netanyahu, do the whole cabinet. They're all complicit.
As it's Carers Week, Mr. Speaker, can I pay tribute to the millions of unpaid family carers across the country and recognise the challenges that they face? Mr. Speaker, the last Conservative government left our health service on its knees. We've heard reports that the NHS will get extra funding in the spending review.
I will predict within 3 sentences of Starmer's response to this question, and you can say it with me, people, that the camera will cut away to a nodding, smirking West Streeting. Be agreeing with whatever Starmer's saying in whatever bullshit promise he's going to put on the table.
If it does, we will support that. But does the Prime Minister agree that no amount of money for the NHS will solve its crisis unless we also invest to fix care? So without preempting the Chancellor's statement, will the Prime Minister reassure me that both social care and family carers will get the priority they deserve in the spending review?
Can I agree with him that the health crisis created by the previous government cannot be solved? They groan. That is exactly how the country feels about the last 14 years and the mess they made of everything. Yes, we do need to fix social care alongside the money that we're putting into the NHS. We're putting record amounts into the NHS. That's the right thing to do, and we're seeing the results. We promised 2 million extra appointments in the first year, of a Labour government. We've delivered 3 million, so there will be that extra funding.
I'll keep doing it. I'm going to need like major therapy to get this out of my system. I just leapt for the ding button as soon as the D word was delivered. But just remember, husband swats, it's not real. You cannot hurt me. Just have to keep telling myself that.
Gently say to him, whilst he welcomes all the extra funding, he can't also at the same time simply say he's against any way of raising the money for the funding. There's an incompatibility there.
Sir Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister knows you've got a fairer and better way of funding NHS investment, and I regret the fact that he didn't answer my question on care. But, Mr. Speaker, moving on, the Prime Minister is right to increase defence spending, and later we'll hear the difficult choices the Chancellor has had to make, partly to fund that defence expenditure. But there are £25 billion of frozen Russian assets in the UK right now. Billions that could be used to stop Putin's war machine and to boost Britain's defence industry even faster. So at the G7 this weekend, will the Prime Minister try to seek an agreement to seize those frozen Russian state assets and use them to support Ukraine?
Well, as he knows, that is an issue that's being considered, but it is complicated, and there are a lot of countervailing factors that need to be carefully balanced in a decision that can be made. We are talking to allies about it, but I don't want to pretend to the House that there's an easy answer on this, because there isn't.
Henry Tufton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. More jobs, cheaper bills. That was our promise on net zero. If we can't meet those goals, then we must consider our approach. In Pembrokeshire, we have a...
Alan Bastard here. You know, they say that these toffs, you know, if you notice, it's not so much these days. Back in the day, they all had this sort of wavy, like, effect in the hair. Can you see that? It's because they lick the combs. They lick the combs like Etonians before they comb the hair. That's why they get that sort of curly bit.
Proud industrial history rooted in oil and gas, and an incredibly exciting opportunity in floating offshore wind in the Celtic Sea. So can the Prime Minister assure me that he is committed to a just transition that protects and creates jobs?
Well, I thank him for raising this. I believe this government was seen...
I thank him for raising this. No, that wasn't a planted question. We didn't script this out literally for you. Yes, thank you. What a surprise. Well, yes. You know, the Oscar goes somewhere else, as always.
The opportunities of net zero for working people, creating good skilled jobs, taking them off the roller coaster of volatile fossil fuel markets. Under past governments, Mr. Speaker, hard-working communities had their pride and their jobs ripped away, and we will never do that in relation to a transition. We've already seen £40 billion of investment in energy and renewables, and the CBI shows that 38,000 jobs in Wales are linked to clean energy. I want to see more of that.
40 billion for a whole country. It's less than £1 each. You know, this should be at the very basis of our energy infrastructure. I mentioned this new nuclear programme on recent stream as well. So go back and do check that out if you want 2 cents on that. We're still so far behind. Green energy, tidal wind is what we need here in Britain. Yes, solar as well to a lesser extent. Yeah, but with solar, that also has to extend domestically. That is, you have to have a network where people can actually earn, you know, having solar panels and whatnot. It's sort of an alternative grid. It can be done instead of all this obscene money going towards private profits in fossil fuel companies.
Both of them are against it.
Saoirse Eastwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I just want to pay tribute to the Police Service of Northern Ireland briefly for tackling public order in Northern Ireland over the last 2 nights with over 30 police officers injured. I'm sure the whole House would want to join with me in that and also condemning the racist violence. Mr. Speaker,
there have been parallels drawn between this and the Southport attacks, the response from racist thugs to the Southport attacks, I should say, unfortunately. Yeah, don't want to see that.
Whether it's the cardiac scandal at the RVH in Belfast, the cervical smear scandal in the Southern Trust, the COVID-bereaved families, or the crash of Chinook Zulu Delta 576, all of which has impacted my constituents in Lagan Valley. The common thread here is that families simply wanted the truth, but they were let down by institutions at every cut and turn. Will this government urgently introduce a duty of candour bill and ensure that it reflects what the Hillsborough Law Now campaigners and families have fought so very hard for?
Can I start with the important point she makes about Ballymena? And I utterly condemn the violence that we've seen overnight in Ballymena and in other parts of Northern Ireland, including against PSNI officers. It is absolutely vital that the PSNI are given the time they need to investigate the incidents concerned, rather than face mindless attacks as they bring peace and order to keep people safe. And the Northern Ireland Secretary is in touch with the PSNI and the Executive, and I'm being kept updated in relation to that. In relation to the tragic cases that she raises, firstly, I thank her for raising them, and it is important that we have a legal duty of candour. We will be introducing that because, as she says, there must be the truth here based on all people being dealt with on the basis of dignity, fairness and accountability. Thank you.
Yasmin Qureshi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the words of the former Israeli Prime Minister, what we are witnessing in Gaza is...
Yasmin, correct, let me get this right. She's Bolton South MP, and yeah, she has been, if the name's familiar to you, she has been outspoken on the subject of Gaza, which just heard she's about to mention, so.
Indiscriminate, limitless, cruel and criminal killing of civilians. More than 50,000 people have been killed, children have been shot while queuing for bread. A growing number of genocide scholars, including leading Israeli academics, believe that a genocide is taking place. Under international law, we have a duty to prevent genocide. I served on the UN mission in Kosovo. We acted to stop mass killing there. What is the difference now? Will the Prime Minister please intervene immediately to alleviate human suffering and take steps to recognise the state of Palestine?
And like, was it yesterday, recently when I said if David Lammy is going to insist that there's a two-state solution, that obviously by default means that you have to recognise the state of Palestine. Otherwise it's just a one-state solution, isn't it? Good question from Yasmin Qureshi from Bolton South, which isn't far from Manchester. Let's see how Starmer tries to move around this one, because obviously we should be doing far more where international law is concerned, and I don't. You'll have to let me know in the chat if Keir Starmer has any previous affiliation with the judiciary.
Speaker, she'll have seen the statement we made yesterday and the actions that we're taking with allies. The humanitarian situation is dreadful and distressing, and scenes that we've witnessed outside aid distribution centres are frankly heartbreaking.
There was more from that today. They actually breached the fences. I saw a brief clip of that just before I came onto the stream. I also want to point out how Starmer has been particularly quiet on the capturing of the Glean. As it was a British vessel, for example, let's say a different British vessel was somewhere near bordering country with Russia and happened to get captured by Putin's navy, that would be all over the place. It would be all over the place. But as Yasmin Qureshi was pointing out, there's so many double standards where Gaza and Israel's concerned. compared to other places such as perhaps the Ukraine-Russia war. What happened yesterday, though, was nowhere near enough. Smotrich, yes. Ben-Gvir, yeah. But once again, get to the top of the tree, you've got to get Netanyahu. He can always appoint other people to his cabinet. Sure, there are lots of far-right nutcases to choose from. But they're all fanatics. It's a cult. Okay, they'll just be replaced. You've got to get to the top of the problem. You've got to get rid of it, root and stem. At the moment, it's Netanyahu. It's the root of all this.
More aid is needed at volume and speed into Gaza, and Israel's plan for aid delivery is inadequate and insufficient. What is needed is for the UN and other agencies to deliver that aid according to well-established mechanisms, and Israel must allow this. Mr. Speaker, we are working with allies to do all that we can to make this happen, as well, of course, to get the hostages out who have been held for a very long time and a desperately needed return to a ceasefire.
Alex Easton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister, there are significant...
If those are all of the so-called concrete actions that we said we as a country said we were going to take when the blockade, the proper blockade first began in May, then it's pathetic. It's pathetic, frankly. For all that we say about prioritising human rights across the world and peace and yada yada yada. It's all lies. So it's all going to be far too little, far too late.
Concerns regarding the potential job losses at Spirit Aerosystems stemming from the deal with Airbus. Would the Prime Minister agree with me and intervene to bring all the main players, including the unions, the Business Secretary and the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, around the table to ensure these jobs are protected, especially considering the scale of the issues akin to the challenges faced by British Steel? And also, there is an issue for Northern Ireland businesses with the outworkings of the Northern Ireland Protocol and the Winter Framework. Can the Prime Minister give me your reassurances that he's working to resolve all those issues?
Well, I'm grateful to him for...
Mr. U-turn here. What good is any sort of assurance from him? He'll just stick his finger in the air and see which way the wind's blowing tomorrow, and if it's in the opposite direction. Or he loses his shit on more seats in a local election, for example, and takes a tank in the polls. He'll just go anyway. What's assurances? Assurances, that's not in whatever copy of the dictionary that Keir Starmer's got on his bookshelf.
Raising this important case of Spirit Aerosystems in Northern Ireland. I know how important it is for the workforce. I've visited them myself on more than one occasion. Airbus's decision to expand UK operations is good news for the sector and testament to world-class manufacturing expertise, and I want to see those high-skilled jobs protected. The Northern Ireland Secretary has met Airbus, the trade unions and assembly representatives to discuss the best outcome. The Minister of Industry is continuing engagement with stakeholders, and we will do everything we can in relation to this situation. I'm grateful to him for raising it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the Prime Minister join me in condemning decisions taken by the Transport Minister of the previous government, who turned their back on promises to deliver a new train station at Bean Park, which derailed growth in my constituency of Dagenham and Rainham? And will he also agree that the Grampian condition on the Bean Park development must be honoured and that infrastructure must accompany all developments of scale as we get on with the job of delivering millions of new homes?
Well, I know she's been fighting hard for this project for years, and she's right, the previous government failed to deliver. You could say that about anything they touch, Mr. Speaker. But the Rail Minister is working with the Mayor and Housing Minister to get an appropriate solution to unlock housing in the area. Mr. Speaker, we'll also bring C2C back into public ownership, improving reliability and performance and ensuring every penny is focused on better service. I imagine when I said disaster is referring to the last government.
Finish that sentence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've spoken with parents with children with special education needs and disabilities, but aren't getting the support they need in school. However, if as a result their child is out of school, they're left facing prosecution, fines or even prison time. Punishing parents for the failings of a broken system is outrageous. So will the Prime Minister end this by backing Lord's Amendment 349A to the Children's Wellbeing and School Bill, and will he meet with me to discuss this further?
Can I thank her for raising this? The epidemic of absence in our schools is something that really does worry me and concern me. Thanks to the efforts of schools and parents across the country, we've seen over 3 million more days in school this year compared to last, which is really important. But we do know that pupils with special educational needs face more complex barriers in relation to school attendance. Look, we will, of course, look at all amendments in the usual way, but in this instance, I do think we struck the right balance.
Chris Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I start by congratulating Sir Billy Boston. Billy ended his career playing at Blackpool, and I know this has been a long campaign by the Culture Secretary, the Speaker, the Honourable Member for Makerfield, and many in this House, so congratulations to Sir Billy. 12,000 people, it's been exposed by Shelter, are waiting for council housing in Blackpool. This is a damning indictment on the legacy of previous 14 years of the government. Hundreds of families in my constituency are waiting for housing, stuck in bed and breakfast, or like my constituent Casey, who's sofa surfing with her 2 children in tow. So will the Prime Minister, alongside the Deputy Prime Minister, commit to a new generation of social housing and council housing in my constituency and help me build a better Blackpool?
Well, can I join him on his comments about Billy Boston? And I think the whole House will, Mr. Speaker. We are turning the tide on the housing crisis with the biggest investment in social and affordable housing in a generation, Mr. Speaker. The Chancellor investing £39 billion over the next 10 years, almost double what we saw under the last government. And no wonder the National Housing Federation welcomed this as transformative, saying it offers real hope to the thousands who need safe, secure and affordable homes.
Yeah, we've heard this before. I'll believe it when I see it.
National Diabetes Week, and as someone living with type 1, as we both are, Mr. Speaker, we are more than aware of the serious complications of diabetic ketoacidosis, KDA, which, if not caught early enough, could prove fatal. Now, 1/4 of children are diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when in KDA, and that could be avoided with early diagnosis. So will the Prime Minister commit to rolling out a national, universal screening programme, as seen in Italy, for type 1?
Can I thank her for championing this really important issue? My late mother had diabetes, and so I know firsthand just what a struggle it can be and how important it is. Type 1 diabetes is not preventable, as she knows, but the sooner we can reach people, the sooner we can care for them. And we have a screening programme in the UK available to families across the country, and over 20,000 children have already taken part. It is really important that we continue to deliver that. But can I thank her for continuing to champion this and to raise her voice on this very important issue.
This week.
Durham Paffin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is crystal clear how social media and smartphones are harming our young people, with cyberbullying, addiction and exploitation absolutely rife. Governments elsewhere are taking bold action. I understand ministers are considering a 2-hour limit, but that's per app rather than per day. I know the Prime Minister takes this seriously, so can he update the House on what he wants to see happen and what action this government will take to protect...
You know, they had these arguments when video games first started becoming a thing, and the very first ones, and then other consoles and whatnot. And now this is this generation's version of it.
Protect our children.
It is important that we take action to protect our children, and from July, Mr. Speaker...
I do, of course, agree that online bullying is an issue and should be stamped out. You wouldn't have had that during the thing with video games, obviously. Pre-internet, as it were. But you just look at the kind of vile stuff that a lot of the social media platforms are letting on anyway. They grab the money first, ask the questions later, of course.
Tough new rules will mean platforms must protect children in the UK from seeing harmful and violent content. We do need to look at other measures needed to create safer online experiences for young people, and we won't hesitate to take further steps.
I'm pretty sure you will hesitate.
Statistics showed that delays for cancer treatment in North Norfolk are greater than the national average. Much of this relates to the struggles that we face specifically as an older rural constituency. I was elected on a promise to get our NHS back and fighting fit after the criminal damage inflicted on it by the Conservatives. Yeah. Would the Prime Minister recognise that rural health services face acute and specific challenges? And can he give his word to the people of North Norfolk that the reforms and spending we need will come forward to address this?
Yeah. Can I thank him for raising this really important issue for his constituents? I think it does impact rural areas in particular. We've set out record funding for the NHS. We have our cancer plan, and I can give him that reassurance.
This is the final question, John Erie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister and members across this House would have witnessed the spectacular victory for Davy Russell in Scottish. Hall and Stonehouse by-election. My constituents are sick of SNP failure and they voted for change for their NHS, their schools and for Scotland. So can I ask the Prime Minister, has he seen the calls from within the SNP for John Swinney to resign? And does he agree with me that a leader who has only ever lost elections to the Labour Party should stay put?
Well, can I pay tribute to her for the role that she and others played in seeing Davy Russell elected? He will be a dedicated champion for her constituents. And after nearly 2 decades in power, the SNP got their verdict last Thursday. Scotland wants change, and they know the SNP are completely out of ideas. That's why they want a Labour government to deliver real change.
Right, that completes Prime Minister's questions.
Well, a shocking 0-0. Can't believe we didn't get a single one of those, but there you go. It appears that last week's loser is safe for now. So not much drama to report on there in Keith's catchphrases. I did want to come in more on more points. I was just messing about with the microphone settings. Apologies for that if there was the odd sort of weird click and stuff. That was that. I was surprised that the diplomatic situation with the Madeleine didn't come up. Outside of that, there was very little said about Gaza, actually. The general vibe was all sort of prep for what they think is going to be something to shout about with the spending review, but as we're about to go into, it actually isn't. And they'll tell you at the same time, you know, this is fantastic, and then in the next breath they'll say, well, don't expect any miracles, look what we were left with, 22 billion black hole. Well, there were plenty of delivers in there, and change and plan, former contenders. It was very difficult not to hit the button every time deliver was mentioned, I've got to say. Very difficult indeed. So that's all from Keith's catchphrases. Just get rid of this gubbins here. What are we saying in the chat, people? It appears everybody's gone outside for a cigarette. Yes, guitar guy. Reeves plans to deliver change down the black hole. They do normally like to cram them in, you know, in a string, don't they? Delivering our plan for change, da da da. So yeah, that's all a myth, as you're saying there. So let's take a closer look at this. This budget now. I'm not going to go into like massive depth into this. It's pretty straightforward, really, people. Definitely not worth going through the full 3 hours, I'd imagine. What a day in Parliament that must have been. Okay, I'm just loading this page up now. I've heard very little about what's been happening in Los Angeles so far today. Had quite a busy day though, like I said, but just after skimming through this, see what else is happening in the world. Apparently it's 29 billion per year for the NHS. That's not really enough. Again, something they've been way behind on for a very long time. Also, extra money for defence. We already knew about that with the defence announcement recently as well. Housing as well. The majority of that, we know that's going to go to private landlords. It's just going to prop up that more. Well, there's a security in that quote. Reeves said the review would deliver security, economic growth and an NHS fit for the future. What's that supposed to mean, fit for the future? Can we at least just make it fit for now? How many vacancies are there now in the NHS? And this announcement today, according to Keith, marks the end of the first phase of this government as we move to a new phase that delivers on the promise of change for working people. Well, we're about 20% of the way through. And I don't really see any sizable positive change whatsoever. So I, for one, am not satisfied by that. I'm sure you'll agree. The Home Office budget is going to be cut by 1.7% over the next 3 years. Slight increase to funding of police forces, 2.3%. Pandering to reform there, saying they're going to pledge to end the use of hotels to accommodate asylum seekers by the end of Parliament in 2029. So I don't think the 3% rise for the NHS is even close. The same way it always is with nurses' salaries, doctors' salaries. The offers that they get, the offers that end up being agreed on, are always essentially just crumbs on the table. This is another one. I wanted to point out the extension of the £3 bus fare cap. But here in Manchester it's only £2. There's a thing called the B network up here. Some of you might be familiar with that, might be familiar with it. But you can get a single for £2, and if you get on any other buses within an hour of buying your ticket, then you can use the same ticket for free as well. So take that, Keith. £2 billion for AI projects, and £750 million to fund a supercomputer at Edinburgh University. That's a lot of money for a supercomputer. I think not just here in the UK, especially in the States, you know, all this pandering to people like Elon Musk, that people are sort of desperate to scramble for this technological future rather than focusing on the practical solutions for what's happening right here and right now, with tried and tested methods that you don't need AI for. You just need the right funding and the right thinking. So I'd say 750 million for a supercomputer is pretty, you know, pretty tall amount of money. And what was the other one? Sorry, I was just distracted by my other screen then. 2 billion it was for AI projects. Well, that'll be almost 10% of your black hole right there. Despite returning to austerity policies, Reeves was keen to insist that she was not returning to the austerity policies of the coalition and Conservative governments of 2010 to 2016. Well, it wasn't 2010 to 2016. It was 2010 to 2024. That's rich as well. She said austerity had been a destructive choice for the fabric of our society and a destructive choice for our economy, adding my choices are different. What, in the middle of saying what you're going to cut? Talk about gaslighting. I know the Tories have come back and said that this is spend now, tax later thing. Apparently Richard Tice from Reform has said that that pitiful amount of spending was out of control. So that leads you to think, or believe at least, that if Reform did get in, then they'd be even tighter than Rachel Reeves. Tall order. Adrian Ramsey said the Chancellor was balancing the spreadsheet on the backs of some of the worst off in our society, and urged that the government should introduce a tax on the super rich. Of course, Ramsey and Ellie Chowns are quite behind in the polls compared to Zach Polanski, who seems a bit more intent on, well, essentially starting some sort of social and environmental revolution. I've just forgotten off the top of my head when the actual voting ends, and we'll find out who the next leader's going to be. That's very poor. Very poor from Reeves. I like that one, Flo, yeah. I also want an NHS that was fit for the past. When it did actually work. Wasn't chopped up into tiny markets by Tony Blair and the ilk to be able to trade off one by one. Another, of course, overlooming fact is that given the framework, obviously, even if they put more money into the NHS, again, a lot of that can just end up in private hands anyway. So eventually, if it was fully privatised, the amount of money would be irrelevant, because that is just literally how much money we're pouring into these people's pockets. And they aren't short of a quid or two, the private healthcare industry. Far from it. It's much worse in the States, of course. Even basic things, even very basic medicines and treatments which have been readily available for cheap for decades now cost, you know, depending on what it is, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. Scary times. Keep West Streeting away from it, that's all I can say about the NHS. Just having a quick look at the poll. Oh goodness me, it's getting quite late, people. Just skimming through a couple of pages here. Could this mean that things are simmering down perhaps a little bit in Los Angeles? I don't think there's much to say there with regards to sort of latest news on today. Yeah, don't know if you heard as well earlier. Brian Wilson passed away, didn't he? So I've just seen that on the news page. I'll just have a quick look at this though. There is this ongoing thing in Northern Ireland. A leisure centre has been attacked. Just need to make it this one, actually. This was brought up in PMQs, as we heard. So it's the LAN Leisure Centre. Well, it's proper on fire and everything. So this is obviously Ballymena. And earlier this afternoon, Mid and East Antrim Borough Council confirmed the leisure centre had provided emergency shelter for families in urgent need following disturbances. Oh, that's terrible. And now that's been attacked. Music, please. You can see what looks like a Molotov cocktail there as well. The old, the Belfast ice cream vans there. So it says smoke bombs, fireworks, bottles, bricks have been thrown at police at a standoff with a gathered crowd. A row of 6 police Land Rovers advanced towards them with officers in full riot gear, pushing a number of individuals back, and they've also deployed dogs and water cannons. Water cannons have arrived at the scene. And it's not Evian that they spray out of those water cannons either. It's as good as sewage. But it's scary echoes again, like I said, of the Southport attacks and racist thugs taking advantage of tragedies to try and push a violent and far-right racist issue. So shame on them. And you've got some unionists with the flags up there. Oh yeah, that was something I heard earlier as well. Obviously, so much false propaganda spreads very quickly on social media, as it did around the time of the Southport attacks. So people have resorted, anybody who's not from Ireland, to putting their country of origin above the doors to evade attack. Because obviously some knuckle draggers will say, well, you look like such and such. And that's just part of their whole general ignorance, I think, really. So yeah, that's ongoing, and I'm not sure if there've been any. It doesn't look like there've been any counter protests. It just looks as though it's these thugs versus the police at the moment. It's just, you know, senseless, isn't it? It really is senseless. I'll just leave that there for now. Sorry, wrong button. Just a quick reminder as well, the latest volume of Brews at 10, the album, is out now for your consideration, people.
Do you like a hot tasty beverage with your music? Then my left eye has got a treat for your ears. The Brews at 10, the album. All your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place.
Volume 10 is now available, featuring Nothing Compares to TU, Sinead O'Connor, Get On Cup, James Brown, Hold Tea, Thrill Tea, Kiss Tea, Kill Tea, Brew 2, You Can't Brew That, The Beatles, Tea in the Sahara, The Police, plus many more. Order now.
Thank you very much for all your suggestions on that one. That was volume 10 of Brews at 10, the album. Not actually available anywhere. So no, actually will give another shout out to all the members on the channel. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'll have a scan over the chats. Afterglow 1010. How do you brew? Rab Higgins. So nice to see you. Always great to have new names and faces in the chat. Anything by Teacup. Messed about with the microphone again. Andy Carson, thank you very much for the gifted membership. Little Doctors, please do enjoy your perks. Nice shots. Nice shot, Mr. Carter. Same just before that, was I thinking? Oh yeah, about Michael Jackson. Suggestion. ahead. One will come to me. Yeah, I don't know. Might just be the last thing I've learned on stream. I'll try and think of one. Feel free to add your suggestions though. And in the comments if you're watching back. So the buttons as well comes up. Things like this. It's great. It's self-employed. It's good for society. Can you hear me? Right, that should be back to normal now, I think. I say normal. That's another gifted membership as well. Thank you very much for that. Nice one, super. Solidari-Tea. Who's that? Lily Cat. Do enjoy your perks. Lily Cat. That's nice. Right. Yeah. I don't know why it's going on quiet. That should be better now. Yeah, we're getting towards the end of the stream anyway. Sorry about the microphone issues. Still going to work on that. I don't know why that's been happening so much lately. This is with, you know, the not too old microphone. That's supposed to be a lot better than the other one. But I hope that's coming through loud and clear enough now anyway. Don't blame the operator. Right, people, I'm having a look for a raid, a redirect. This space? Called this space? What is that? Oh, I think I know which one that is. Yeah. Sneaky peek first before raiding. Only really like to raid into channels that are, you know, talking politics and whatnot. It says there's another one scheduled for Rathbone, but I think that's still the one that was a long time ago or isn't for a while. Whichever way around it was. So we'll check this one out. You can always feel free, of course, to recommend any channels that I should check out. Anybody who live streams, maybe around this time of the night for us, or wherever. Trying to connect more with American audiences as well, to get their thoughts on, well, things like the LA protests and whatnot. That's a good title for a channel, that, as well, isn't it? Watch this space. See what they're doing there. Oh, everything's been so slow tonight. Okay. I'm going to be reinstalling the broadcast software, I think, and I've got a few other ideas as well, so thank you for your patience on tonight's stream, with things running a little slow, but didn't get the circle of death, at least. It has been somewhat distracting as well. Right, okay, let's dive into this space then. That'll be it from me. I've been your host, Lefty. Thanks for joining me on tonight's Brews at 10. I'll be catching up with you on another live stream later in the week. But whether I see you over on this space or not, take care, everybody. My left eye, I'll be seeing you soon. Free Palestine and power to the people. Oh, and very quickly, who won the poll? Ha! Almost. Unsurprisingly, most of you. So the question was, does Rachel Reeves' spending review cut the mustard? Aye 7%, nay 54%. Who is Rachel Reeves on 39%? So the nays have it. The nays have it. Unlock. Alright, thanks a lot, people. See you soon.